Thomas with GKS Lifting and Moving Solutions. Today I'm here with the Rigging Superintendent of Lawson Drayage, Victor Nelson. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking me to.
So what would you say your typical day-to-day style is and routine is for this job?
Usually we do a basic team meeting for the crew that is assigned for the day. We'll go over what projects are happening, whether they're big ones or little ones. Something varies. Sometimes it's day-to-day work that just changes every moment of every day. Sometimes it's a week-long, 2-week-long project, something to that effect. So we'll go over what's happening that day, issue paperwork and gear demands for that job, and send them on their way. I usually travel from job to job, depending on the need for the difficulty level of the project and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll move around with the crew and help out wherever is needed.
Awesome. Sounds good. What do you enjoy most about your job and working in the rigging industry?
Well, most of my work is really exciting. I mean, there's days when you're not exactly sure if what you're planning on it supposed to do doesn't actually happen, So we have days where the projects are really exciting. We get something done that we do projects that nobody else in the world will ever do. So that stuff gets exciting. I've done it my entire life. I don't really know any other trade. I've been a driver for almost 30 years. I've been a rigger for the same. So doing this kind of work, it's in my blood, it's family, it's genetic. I mean, my son's with me now. He's 4th generation doing the same work. So we joined this Lawson. I sold my company to Lawson in 2016, and they've been around since 1919, so for 100 years. And it's also a family business. So I like the core values. I like the fact that it's a pretty specialized trade. Not everybody's good at it. And it gives you that, sense of completion at the end of the day. It's pretty nice.
That seems pretty interesting. It's cool that your son's with you and that's 4th generation. It's a nice family history with all that.
Yeah, pretty proud dad.
So what do you think is most important with the crane and rigging industry within our economy and society in general?
A lot of people don't really see our trade as, kind of behind the scenes, really. A manufacturing shop buys a machine and nobody really cares how it gets there. That's what we do is, I've always said, if you look at something and wonder, how did we get that? How do you move that? That's what I do. You call me, or someone like me, of course. So as far as with the economy and whatnot goes, whether there's an upswing in production, manufacturing, and jobs, we're there to support them. On the other side of it as well, as we also support, unfortunately, when the downturns happen, we support the financial institutions and things like that when people have to close and things of that nature. So this job is funny because we follow kind of the construction industry. So if there's new construction, the buildings are coming up, we're going to be busy pretty soon in the area because all the infrastructure needs to move in to manufacture this or that. And when layoffs and stuff start happening, and so we feel everything a little after everybody else, I guess.
I mean, that is definitely sad that, you're always going to be busy even when it's an economic downturn, but yeah, you can't do too much about that, I guess.
Well, somebody has to do those sorts of things, and the way it works out, it's a lot of times it's for the best in letting everything grow and kind of recalibrate.
How important do you think supporting organizations like SC&RF is that are working to close the skills gap in our country?
Honestly, I think that sort of environment is great, or entity is great within the environment. This industry suffers from a real lack of talent and training. They used to be kind of the old school way to keep your training to yourself and not really share it because it made you more valuable. I've always been, teach everybody so that we reduce accident potential, we reduce the, possibility for damage for our customers, things like that. So I've always kind of went against that, and I'll show anybody anything I know, and if they choose to do something with it, great. If not, otherwise, that's up to them. But so in that, the old timers kind of took it with them, right? And so now those people are of the age where they're all retiring out, and there's groups in my generation that they look around at what needs to happen. And we have a lot of smart people that will engineer tools to close that skill gap some, right? By making the work a bit easier and taking some of the load off of the physical part of the work, or some of the, I guess, say the talent of having to do it with, a joke around here is we do things with sticks and rocks that people can't do with big brand new forklifts, right? So that's kind of what happens, right? Is we engineer better tools to make up for the gap, and somebody knowing that fancy trick that makes it easy, you know, to keep from having to do it the hard way. So it's critical that people get trained and have the opportunity to learn, because it's an exciting job. It's not mundane, that's for certain. You know, it's always something different. It's always something. I mean, we deal with aerospace, we deal with food industry, we deal with all sorts of manufacturing. So there's days, you know, we're down the street from the Tesla Gigafactory, where my office is. So we're in there with all that new innovative tech, and our office works with NASA and Google and all of those kind of places that really are on the absolute cutting edge of the stuff that's happening, you know, the tech and everything. And it's pretty cool to be a small part of it.
Yeah. That's great to hear that you're so willing to teach younger people, because that actually leans up perfectly with my next question, which is, what would you say to a young person who's looking to join this industry?
Well, my thought would be not so much to just show up to work and be there for a paycheck, but to dive into it and look forward as to soak up what people have to teach you, because if you're in that mindset, you'll go a lot farther. So when I was 20, I never dreamed I would make, you know, much more than your regular rigger wages, right? When whatever area you're in, it's pretty fixed. There's definitely a ceiling. And when things worked out the way they did for me, now I'm elevated to a point where, you know, I'm compensated pretty well for what I do, and I shouldn't. I wouldn't want to get anybody not excited about that, because this industry has the rewards and the potential for a man to start off, or woman, I suppose, for a person to start off at literally totally entry level and wind up being, you know, someone very, very important in that industry, or in that what's the word, company, I guess. That can turn into somebody who's, you know, making decisions and shot calling and being a leader and being a teacher themselves at some point. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, but it's a pretty rewarding career. It beats most others.
Yeah, I mean, the growth is definitely there, and I think it's definitely important to get people in at a younger age so they can grow within the industry. And then,
well, and you got to think too, it's a hard work, so you got to have the young people to support.
Yeah, you got to have the younger people to do it. Exactly. All right, well, those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you so much for taking your time to participate in this interview. Quite, your answers to the questions definitely helped out, gave some more insight, so I really appreciate that.
Glad I could be of some small service.
Thank you.